It's been a week since I last went live. So we are here, and she's my student for those of you who are attending for the first time. Our intent here, let me start with our intent here. Our intent here is quite clear. Uh, it is to help any seeker who is out there and also clarify whatever we know uh, that becomes clearer when we have a discussion. Um, what our intent is to help seekers, such seekers who think enlightenment, self-realization, nirvana, the moksha marg is their primary goal in life. All else is secondary. You can have only one important priority. If you look deep within, everything that is secondary or tertiary are existing because they do not conflict with your most important priority. So check with yourself, look into yourself. What is your most important priority? If that is self realization, then we will be relevant to you and we could be saying something useful to you as well. If your innermost desire, if your first priority is not self realization, then it cannot be your second or third priority because self realization will have to support your other priorities, which it does not, because the lack of any other desire is what helps you achieve self realization. Anyways, let's get going with the discussion. So the platform is open for questions.
Maybe we can start our discussion until we get any questions from the viewers. So far, we've been doing this conversation between teacher and student asking questions to teacher. I want to change it a bit today, and I want to reverse it. I want teacher asking question to a student. Um, yeah, this has many reasons, but I would like to do it that way. I think that will give me more clarity on where I am,
Mm-hmm.
and it will also help in conveying many things to uh, our
Hmm.
viewers.
Okay. Um, for anybody who has been born and brought up in our schooling system, the normal society. So, say I myself was educated to be an engineer. Mm, it's more or less like I went with the flow. They're not my choice in any way. Maybe there were slight choices that appeared like choices, but they were not really choices. Do you think for a person who has been brought up till his graduation, or even later while he's working or she is working. His entire life was defined like a formula for him. And I don't think self realization had any place in that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a person can pick it up even if it's not in the formula?
Definitely yes. And the reason being, I think from my experience, it has been evident that for a couple of years, yes, there has been a thirst, yes, there has been a question, but for a couple of years, I lived a very defined life. But when I got initiated into Kaula, um, things changed drastically. I mean, I can't even put it in words, the amount of change that brought in. And I can very I mean, it's not me being humble, but it's a fact that even if I had been born for another hundreds or thousands of years, I don't think that that level of clarity or perception or knowledge or experience could have happened, at so I yes, I do think that definitely, even if we have um, been brought up in a certain defined environment or a controlled environment, it is still possible. And I think there are multiple factors that depend on. One is the quality of birth, and the second thing is the choice that we make at a given point of time. There is always an opportunity that is being given to us based on probably the previous merits that we have had. And I think it's choosing that choice. So there is trust, there is willpower, the right guru is more important than all of that. I think it is definitely possible.
Um, so, what you're saying is it is possible, but in between, you mentioned that you getting introduced to Kaula means that whatever you experienced, you could not have experienced even in another 100 lifetimes. See, you are giving very quantifiable numbers like 100 lifetimes,
Hmm.
or telling that Kaula was the key. Do you think that for anybody who is looking forward to self realization, they should find someone who is a teacher of Kaula and proceed so that they can avoid those hundreds of lifetimes, numerically speaking?
Yes. So this is something that I had concluded saying that this is the only path. Kaula is the only way out, at least at this point of time, because of all the distractions that we have and the kind of environment that we live in. If you see, mostly today, in terms of the guidelines that you're getting, the knowledge, or in just maybe like the tips that you get, it is all based on limited something that limits the body or the mind. For example, they may say that you have to eat a certain food or you have to live a certain way. But I think the system that we are living in, it is quite literally not possible to follow everything every day in a certain manner. Of course, it's not a. I'm not trying to say this as an escape route, but it is in the work that we are doing and everything. If we see today, the system how it is taken shape, it's not possible to follow a certain routine every day, or maybe food principles every day. Water, because our food is at the very fundamental step where we have starting. The soil itself is polluted, water is polluted. So saying, oh, you have to eat a certain way, you have to drink a certain way, or you have to get up a certain way, I don't think that works. So we need a path where we can break free from all that. We have to go beyond all that. It's like, one of my Ayurvedic doctor told me, I was asking her, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Because I had some skin infection. She said, At this age, you should be able to eat a stone and digest it. So that is the kind of thinking that we need, where we go beyond the limitation, and we need a path and support that will take us beyond that. So,
From
so to your question, if we need Kaula as the way, no, I don't think a teacher who knows Kaula is needed. But I definitely do think a teacher should know ways and paths where he can take student beyond the certain restrictions or principles or uh, the conditioning that we create for ourselves. We have to go beyond that.
um, up to my understanding, I do not think there is any path that offers you that kind of flexibility. You say Kaula, actually, that is even more strict in terms of what time, how you have to wake up, what you have to do after you wake up, or any kind of routine that you have, or whatever practices. It's even more strict. Same with the path of yoga or the Vedic method. You pick any path, generally, that discipline is expected in the path.
Right.
But what you are telling is, in today's age, it's not possible to follow such guidelines on face value, like literally, which means that you cannot follow any path. So, how, what are you doing then when you can't follow any path?
I will talk about my experience in this particular case. Um, I think it is very hard to vocalize the experience, but at least in my case, it has been a mixed approach where my teacher um, knew not just one path but the essence. So I think it is not really about which path we are following. It is about the essence that every path is giving to us, the fundamental core. It's like a seed. Every path is, if it's just branching out, there is just one seed, because of which this tree grew and we had all these plants. If we thinking that all these branches are different paths, but when you come back, it all sprouted because of one seed. I think the ultimate goal, if we want to really go towards that self realization, is to go behind that seed, that one seed. And I think it involves not just it involves, because these paths came very recently. When we go back in time, everything was a mixture. A guru was not like, oh, he's a kriya yoga, he knows kriya yoga, oh, he's a kaula guru. It used to not be like that. He was a teacher, a true teacher. He knew the path to self realization. It need not be just one path or two paths. So I think it varies from person to person. At what time a student needs to be put in a controlled environment, where his mind is going a certain way, and there are ways, some, there is a phase in this journey where the mind needs to be restricted sometimes, and sometimes there is freedom that is given. So I think it is a combination of many things. It is so hard now that you ask this question. I think it is pointless to say there is one path, because it completely depends on individual's journey, how the body is responding, how their mind is taking a certain way, or their ego, or how their breath is. So ultimately, I think it all comes down to that particular individual on deciding what is best to that student. So it is The teacher will definitely, if a true a guru is known as is Shiva himself, and Shiva knows, and Shiva is who gave us all the paths. So I think a true guru is literally Shiva himself, and he knows how to take the student to self realization, and it is not one path. And if we put ourselves in that in in that mindset, I think we are making a mistake, because again we are restricting ourselves, and that is not something a student can decide. That is something the teacher will decide. So I think it is not about choosing a particular path. I think if you don't know anything, it is best to be curious and to have that trust and hold that thirst in, so that we get the right guru. I think it is otherwise it is impossible to um, reach that.
So, for a seeker, I'm looking for the key.
Mhm,
What is the key to unlock?
mhm,
According to you, now in our like a while before we thought it was Kaula. Now we see that it is something that is common to all the paths. There is a common seed, and now um, I think you're telling about Guru as a key.
yeah.
So, how will a student identify that right Guru?
I know there are many writings about this. There are many explanations about this on choosing the right guru. But in my experience, there is no way a student can identify and say if a guru is right guru or not right guru. Because if I have to have the ability to judge if my guru is enlightened or not, is right for me or not, I need to be enlightened first. So I don't think that I will ever have the ability to judge the guru. But I think it is, I don't think it can be controlled. So it will always depend on a student's thirst, how much he trusts, and how much he is willing to make self realization as his primary goal. The moment the student realizes that this is the purpose of life,
Mhm.
the kind of teacher, it is never possible that the student can go and pick, oh, teacher number one, teacher number two, teacher number three, oh, I'll pick teacher number two. That is never the case. And if someone has chosen a teacher like that, it is not right. Because the mind, this whole happening, this whole path, this journey is beyond the understanding of mind.
I have a feeling that you're giving a seeker no option at all. Like he can't pick a teacher. There's a seeker, maybe one somebody who watches our video later or someone who is live. You are just telling them that they cannot pick a teacher.
Yeah, that is right. They can't.
But you are also telling that teacher is the key.
Yes,
Trust in the right teacher is also the key.
yes,
Then they can't do anything for self realization.
they can.
What can they do?
Very simple things, which is what worked for me, was observing my breath.
Okay, if they are observing their breath, how do they know they're observing their breath? They come across someone who is a teacher. How do they know that if that person is right or not? Without, they can't know, is what you're telling. So they come across some person who is a teacher, who is a guru. They have been observing their breath. Now, because they took your statement on face value that a teacher, um, they can't judge a teacher, so a teacher has appeared, and they put their complete faith in that person. Will that be sufficient for their self realization? Are they doing the right thing? How can they be sure that what they're doing is right?
So I think I've struggled with this question for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
um, because fortunately I found a guru who never made me feel like he was the right guru.
Mm-hmm.
He always created the space for my critical thinking to open.
Mm-hmm.
It was never like I could not question my um, myself. It was actually not questioning about my guru, but the decisions I made. So so in my case, my teacher always put me in that space where I can question everything, including my guru, and he was not offended by it at all. I have gone, I don't know how many times, to my guru saying, probably this is not the right thing for me. And he kept, okay, if this is not the right thing for you, then you should not be here. Not even 1 second you should be here. You should move on. And I think that is when you sit and your reasoning. This is where one individual's willpower, trust, and reasoning. This is where the true reasoning will start. It is like it will light up. You reason it, and then it goes beyond the ability of your mind to understand. Then you see the difference that what your mind is doing, and then you shut the mind, and then you start trusting the process. So I think um, it is never I don't think it is ever possible to judge a guru if he is right for me or not. The only factor or parameter to check is myself. Where I have reached now, what is my awareness level? That is the only parameter for me to decide if the guru is, if I'm going in the right direction or not. What was my awareness level probably before I met the guru? What is my awareness level now? And it reflects in every decision I make, how close I am to self. And it is always the case that the student will never know what stage a particular student has reached. Will always think that, oh, I am going nowhere, and this and that. But I think there is always that one particular light within that will tell you that if you're what is your awareness level. That definitely will tell you. It is about shutting the mind, and then being in that silence, and then just realizing that what is my experience.
So you've shut the mind, but you've not shut your experience. Experience happens through the senses, and the mind is who processes information from the senses. And without processing information from the senses, how can you experience?
When I use the word experience, it is only coming through mind. If I have no mind, there is nothing. And uh, I think there will come a stage where it is you and your mind. There is a very clear distinction, and it's like a monkey sitting on your head, and that is your mind. Um, so mind does not like for you to be silent at all. That means mind does not like silence. Mind, so whenever there is nothing, it starts jumping around. But it takes practice, constant practice, to be able to do nothing. And so I would like to say this. So even when this whole journey started, the question that I kept asking was, what was the purpose of my life? And so I thought being a certain oh, maybe being an IAS officer is the purpose of my life, an astrophysicist the purpose of my life. And then I started decoding, okay, maybe I have to understand the universe, what is beyond that. Oh, maybe how everything works in this planet, how everything works. And then slowly I started to understand that nothing else is in my control. When I have to understand what is the purpose of of my life, I can be this or that, but how will I be able to understand anything? For example, how water works, how anything works. I don't think I can truly understand how anything works if I don't understand myself. So it kind of it's a journey, right? Then it will all lead to you, to your own self, because it is easy to understand yourself because you are there, you are here. That is what you can feel. But then you ask yourself, what is that within you that you can understand? Can you see how your how food is being digested? Can you see how your muscles are working? Can you see how your brain is working? None of that you can see. None of that. There is no way you can actually understand any of that. But there is one thing that is constant and which is not in your control, like something that is happening the moment you start to see how your brain works. It works very differently. You can't understand it. And the hands, the legs, so you take every part of your body. There is no way you can understand any part of your body because you can't actually see. Like when you start dissecting everything, there are so many cells and you have to understand what a cell is and all that. So then there was, again, this was my first first meet with my teacher. I was completely lost and I asked how to get enlightened. And he said, simply, that's very simple, observe your breath. That is how my journey started. When I started observing my breath, I started seeing my thoughts. I started seeing slowly after a very long practice or observing my breath, you know, for few days, few months. I started reading my thoughts. I could see, oh, this is how my mind is doing. And that's how you see the difference between there is a mind, there is a body, and there is something that is not you. I mean, if some there is an observer. So, which is why I kept coming back to saying that breath is something very simple. We are breathing right now. It is something that is constantly every second happening, which can bring us in this present tense. And this is what I would like to say to anybody because this does not need a teacher.
Nice. I want to wind up by asking one final question. How close to self realization do you think you are? And when are you expecting to achieve it?
I don't know.
Both the questions.
Yes.
How can anybody who is, sorry for another question, how can anybody who is listening to us judge how close they themselves are? Is it possible?
I don't think so.
Thank you. Thanks. And if you have any questions, viewers, you see our mail ID there. You can leave us a mail. Thank you.